Welcome back, everybody. It is episode 49.5 of the Jader and Kyle show. We are not quite at episode 50 yet. We're saving that for a big one because 50 is a big number. You know, you're over the hill at that point. So that's going to be a special episode. This one's just going to be a regular review episode. We're going to go over a couple things, but as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Jader Paramo. Welcome back, sir.
It's been a while, man, right? When was the last time we were, last time I think last time you were here, you were living in the same. Last time we were on, you were living in the same state. You are no longer there. You are now a resident of New York State. How's that treating you?
I mean, you can kind of get a look around. I got a different setup, different background going on here.
You go.
New state, everything's different now. So it's going to be a new experience, and I'm happy about it. New York's, it's a lot of fun so far.
Have you had the pizza?
I have had pizza. There's a place on my street called Bellucci Pizza that I guess is owned by an ex-con. Amazing pizza, though. He's got a lot of great stuff.
Great stuff?
Yeah, he's got great stuff. You also have, everyone will just stumble on a pizza place. Like, if you walk out of a bar at 3 in the morning, there's a pizza place right there, and they're open 24 hours. And they know exactly where they're at. Yep.
What you're where exactly?
In Astoria and Queens.
It's Queens, okay.
In Queens, yeah. So I got the train right near me. It's pretty nice. It's nice right into the Manhattan area.
You're right around Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I saw him the other day. He swung by my apartment. I was like, hey man,
amazing.
Yeah, it's like do a flip, and he's like, I'm good.
So yeah, man, we have actually quite the show today due to all these movies that are coming out. Movies are back. I know we've been saying that more and more every episode, but it feels more and more as we go how people are racing to the theaters. This weekend maybe not so much, which we will get to in a bit. But how do you feel, man? I feel like we're getting we're back. We got some good ones, some decent ones, some pretty shitty films that came out.
Which means we're officially back now.
That's what I'm saying. Not everything's gonna be a hit, which is awesome. But I feel as we're going, we're just getting more and more stacked. Like we're gonna have a little bit of a break in September with I think maybe 3 films that I'm probably interested in. Maybe we get some hits that I'm not aware about. But October, man.
October is like July. It's summertime all over. Well, September we got some good stuff. August looks awesome so far. What do
we got in August that I really want to see? I'm really interested in that Candyman movie.
Candyman, you got Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad's coming out next week, which I'm very pumped for.
There's one called Reminiscence coming out with Hugh Jackman and Rebecca.
I haven't seen the trailer. I've only seen the poster for it.
The trailer looks awesome. Yeah. It looks like a Blade Runner meets Looper type of thing. Me too.
Two very good films. So yeah, I'm definitely in.
I'm so into it. So I can't wait for that one. Then September's got Shang-Chi, I think. And I haven't really a chance to look at the calendar.
Malignant,
another one, yeah.
James Wan film, horror movie, looks great. Can't wait. It llooks trippy as hell. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for it.
No,
it looks really, really trippy, but it has that James Wan feel to it. So for me, he's been mostly hit than misses with his horror.
Yeah.
So pretty pumped for that one as well. I can't say that I'm not looking forward to Shang-Chi because it looks amazing, and especially after everything that Marvel's done, with the Loki show. Loki left me with in awe. Loved Loki. Funny enough, we finished Loki, and I was almost a week late. I didn't see it when it premiered. I think I saw it that Sunday, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So it comes out on Wednesday. I finally got around to it on Sunday. I missed the last 2 episodes, so I saw Gator Loki for the first time, and then we saw Kang the Conqueror.
Kind of.
Yeah. But we saw him. So I saw him both in one day. So I thought that was mind blowing to see. It was so great. But my brother was in town for a month, and we've been watching Loki, and he had never seen WandaVision. So I'm like, you haven't seen WandaVision? He's like, no, I've never seen it. He goes, this is the first Marvel show that I've seen. He goes, I've seen almost every Marvel film, but I just never got around to seeing any of the shows. So he's like, he happened to be here the week Loki premiered, so we saw it with him, and we made it a weekly thing, right? As soon as Loki finished, I loved it, but for me, it wasn't on the caliber of WandaVision. At least for me, that's still the number one show that Marvel has done.
I agree. It goes WandaVision. Loki's right there, though. I think
absolutely. Loki's
almost
right there.
as good.
And even Falcon and Winter Soldier, I enjoyed so much. But I'm saying, like, there was no misses on any of the Marvel shows. So I told my brother, I'm like, oh man. So we start off watching WandaVision, and it was late already, dude. It was like maybe like 11:30. He saw the first episode. He was like, what is this? And I'm like, this is good. This is good that you're intrigued. And then second episode, he's like, I'm not getting it, but you get the little reference, and it's so much better the second time because now when you see the reference, you're like, oh my god, like you pick up a lot more stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And third episode ends, and that's when how the hell does the third episode end is when they mention Ultron. It's when Rambo mentions Ultron, and he was like, what? Like he thought this was all happening before Endgame and Infinity War. He thought this was like a prequel, so it kind of like tripped him out, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where I kind of cut it off for him, because I asked him right before I started episode 4, I was like, have you seen Captain Marvel? And he's like, this is the only movie I have not seen in the DC world. I mean DC world, sorry. In Marvel. He's like, it's the only movie I haven't seen in Marvel. And I'm like, all right, well, we're going to cut it off here. I'm going to go to work tomorrow. I'm like, watch. I'm like, we have Captain Marvel. I'm like, watch it. And then when I come back, we'll finish up watching WandaVision. He's like, all right, cool. So he watches Captain Marvel. He's like, I wasn't bad. I don't know why people were hating it, this and that and that. And I start immediately when Captain Marvel ends, I start episode 4. And it's when, when she comes back from the blip.
That's right. Yeah. That's how
he's like, oh my God. And he doesn't know who he sees the blip thing. And then he's like, holy crap. But then when she says her name, he's like, that's the little girl. I'm like, yeah, dude. He's like, oh my God. Like, starts getting mind blown. And he's just all in at that point. We finished literally watching WandaVision in a day. Like, we started it at 11:30, and by like 9 o'clock the next day, we were all wrapped up with it.
Yeah, so, I think that's easily the best show they've put out so far.
Yeah, I mean, and you saw the Emmy nominations that he got 23, deservedly so. You know what I found out yesterday, because I also saw, not leaving the Marvel world, talking a little sports back there, saw Ted Lasso last night, first episode. I caught up.
That's season 2?
Yeah, season 2, episode 1.
I haven't watched episode 1 of season 2 yet, because I saw all Ted Lasso last year. Yeah, and I'm rewatching it again because I just love it so much.
Yeah, it's such a great show, but it picks right up, man. You're already smiling from the first frame. Funny episode. You get introduced to some new characters. It's really good so far. But yeah, those are pretty much the only things that I've been kind of watching TV wise. I saw the Movies That Made Us as well on Netflix.
I haven't seen that.
Binge through that. Very interesting. You should definitely watch it. The Jurassic Park episode is amazing because they say how the films get made or whatever, the hassles they go through. I think last season was Nightmare Before Christmas, Die Hard, Home Alone, and I can't remember the fourth film. This season was Back to the Future. It was Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, Forrest Gump, and Pretty Woman. Oh, Dirty Dancing was the last movie in the first season. But it's how things got made. People that they had originally casted, kind of like what we talked about on the show.
Yeah.
The McAllister house, pretty cool. I saw it last night. The Home Alone house. They obviously drove through Chicago, found the house, but to shoot inside the house was too small for the whole crew to get angles. So the shots of that house are only used for the front. They built inside of a local school in the gym, where they actually shot. So that all is in a gym. really wild, dude. Really wild stuff.
Cool. No, that's really cool. I have to check out that series. There's so much stuff that you got to catch up on every now.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you. And between that, like studying for school, and then the Schmodown, dude, it's been nonstop.
That's why we are sitting here at episode 49.5, a month, I think, after our last show. The last thing we did was we reviewed the Fast 9 and the entire Fast and Furious saga and the Heights. I remember we did all those in the same episode. So it's been a bit, but we are back. We're going to make it, weekly. We're going to be back consistent now. I had to move. You had a lot of stuff going on. It's just schedules didn't work out quite the way we wanted to, but now we're still here, guys. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna keep it going, and episode 50 is gonna be coming really soon, so keep an eye out for that. But today we're gonna review a couple more films that have come out recently, starting with I think a controversial one. I want to say ones that people are talking about quite a bit, and that's gonna be Space Jam: A New Legacy. So Space Jam: A New Legacy is a sequel, kind of, to the original Space Jam that was almost 30 years ago now at this point. I think it came out in 1995, 96.
96. Came out in 1996. I was there opening night.
Mm-hmm.
I was mind blown opening night. Became my favorite movie instantly. I can't tell you how many times I saw Space Jam. I can't tell you how much Space Jam toys I had, Space Jam gear. It was a phenomenon. And let me tell you, one thing that does not get talked about enough is the damn soundtrack. That soundtrack for me is legendary. It still holds up to this day. There's a lot of songs on there that, they're considered throwbacks, and a lot of songs on there that people don't know were actually made for the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And
one's tough. There's a couple that are tough to bring up now, but
yeah. I mean, we'll go ahead and say it. Like the R. Kelly one, yeah. I mean, the song is great despite of what he's done and all that. It's still a great song. But one song that gets slept on all the time is the Monstars theme, and it's Hit 'Em High, right? So you have to understand, like, my love, and you already know this, my love for hip hop and all that. And so growing up in the 90s, which I consider is the golden era of hip hop, the best hip hop came out in the 90s. We had some great people coming out in the 2000s. But for me, if you go back to legends, I know the 80s and late 70s started it all. But for me, the golden era where it's on its prime has always been the 90s, forever will be the 90s for me. But this song has Be Real from Cypress Hill, Method Man, it has Coolio, it has Busta Rhymes, LL Cool J. Like this is all one track, man.
Yeah.
And it's just a dope song. In fact, my son's birthday was last week, and we did a Space Jam Legacy birthday party for him. And I opened up when the kids were starting to jump in the pool. I had to play Space Jam as the first song being played. So we had the Quad City DJ song. Mm-hmm. Everybody was hyped, and I had some friends with me that day, and they were just talking about how great the original soundtrack and the song is great, and so what was missing from this movie, which we'll get into. I disagreed a lot with them overall, but I showed them the Hit 'Em High song. They're like, why have I never heard this song? Is it in the movie? I'm like, as soon as the Monstars get introduced, they clip the song for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds, and that was it. And then they roll in the end credit. They play it like right at the end. But I'm like, and then my friend's like, I'm buying this soundtrack just for this song alone, because you can't buy it on Apple. You can't, how Apple Music, you can like select songs. That album, you have to get that song, you have to buy the full album. And he goes, that song's worth $10. I'll buy it. But
worth $10? Jeez, okay.
Yeah, I love that song. And I've shown whoever hasn't heard of it, and I've showed them, they're like, dude, that song's dope as hell.
That brings us to this movie here.
Yeah.
Space Jam New Legacy. So, like you said, you love the original one. I think the original is like I get the nostalgia of it, but also I don't even want, like, I know people look at it fondly because of how they grew up with it as a kid, but if you look at it as an adult for the first time today, it's not great. Like it's
and that happens a lot with you. That's what happens. Like, since you weren't around, right, or you were too young to get it. When you see a movie now, obviously, like Point Break. Point Break is a prime example where I'm like, damn, I remember liking this movie a lot more when I was younger, and when I saw it as an adult, I'm like, yeah, doesn't hold up. For some reason, Space Jam doesn't do that with me. I don't know why. I showed it to my kids, and I still have that love for it. I obviously, as an adult, know that it's not great, but I still think it's like.
Well, it's tough because this is a tough movie to look at critically because obviously Michael Jordan's not an actor. Okay, LeBron James is not an actor. Okay, but you can't judge them being like, oh, they can't act. Of course they can't act because they haven't had all these years of experience like all the other actors have had. But the original has fun. So like Bill Murray's in it, and then you got like fun cameos from Charles Barkley and all this stuff. Like I think it's a fun movie.
Muggsy Bogues, Larry Bird, man, like he had some stars there.
And now you get into this film here. And I think this film, I don't know about you, I think it's better than the original. I enjoy this one more. And yes, it is, because I'll tell you what, and this is where the line comes for a lot of people. A lot of people are saying that this new movie, Space Jam: New Legacy, is just a big commercial for Warner Brothers. Okay.
That was the first one.
Yes, so is the original. So if you're defending the original, then you can't be mad at this because the first one is the exact same way as this. Obviously, they say the word Warner Brothers like I think 35 times in this movie or something like that. Like it's a whole plot point and everything.
It's not thrown in your face like this one is. That's the difference. In the first one, they try to do it very subtle. This one is like the whole movie is just the. What do they call it? The Warnerverse?
Serververse?
Yeah.
Serververse. Yeah.
But again, like we're gonna start obviously getting into it.
Let's do this. The basic plot here is there's a Warner Serververse that is being created, and it's run by not Don Cheadle, but it is the actor Don Cheadle. He's this character that lives within the Warner Brothers Serververse.
The algorithm.
Yes, he's the algorithm. Yeah. And he comes up with this idea to get noticed. I'm just going to recruit one of the most famous people in the world to represent us. We're going to team up, and we're going to, be able to be everywhere in the world. And he recruits LeBron James. That's who he wants. So LeBron sets up a meeting, and LeBron sits down in the Warner Brothers studios, and he hates it. He thinks it's absolutely terrible. Meanwhile, LeBron has a son who loves creating video games and not as much basketball. And LeBron and his son kind of have this little dynamic going on where they really don't get along as well. So Don Cheadle's character hates that LeBron hates this idea. So what he does is he sucks both his son and LeBron into the Warner Brothers Serververse and challenges LeBron to a basketball game, basically saying you'll get your son back if you win, but if you lose, you're stuck here forever, and we're going to delete all the Looney Tunes. And so LeBron has to go on this mission to recruit characters to be on his basketball team. I like this. He has this big idea. I'm going to recruit Superman. I'm going to get King Kong, the Iron Giant.
That was really smart when I saw that. I'm like, that's actually pretty smart. He knew who to go for.
Yeah, he knew the right people, but then he ends up with Bugs Bunny being
was like, no, I need my friends back, man.
So
I don't know why they didn't mention like, hey, dude, we've done this before. Like, I don't know why that line wasn't thrown in there because the only reference, I guess, to the original, not only reference, but the on the nose reference was like, so you need a bad guy took your son or is making you play basketball and you need to play with some tunes, and he looks at the camera, he's like, that sounds awfully familiar. That was like the only like tip, like on the nose reference to the original.
And so here's the thing that I find funny is that Don Cheadle's like, I'm going to send this guy down to the rejects. It sends him to Toon World. The Looney Tunes are indestructible characters of chaos who have never lost. So these are the characters you want on your team because they're never going to lose at anything that they do. And so Bugs Bunny, as he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take you to recruit all these characters, he instead goes and rounds up all his friends, which I think might be the best part of the movie, is them going. So
that is hands down the best part of the movie. I mean, I really enjoyed. We'll get to the actual basketball game, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I was not that joy, and I maybe it's because again it's the nostalgia, and I didn't really pay attention to things like that when I was younger. I was 10 when the movie came out, But I really noticed how bad LeBron was. Like, and I know he's not an actor, and I wasn't really like holding anything against him, but he was like noticeably bad. And I was like, oh my God, dude, I don't know if I can do. And the movie fairly long. I when I was watching it, I'm like,
2 hours, yeah.
it's almost 2 hours, dude. And I'm like, and when the first one I think runs at like 125, 130. I don't think it reaches the 130 mark.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if I can do this for almost 2 hours to watch this guy like that. Like it was just bad for me. However, once he turns into a cartoon and he's going through the different properties, that for me was it's the movie fan in me. But I'm like, oh, we got something here. I'm like, I like this because it was done so well because I loved how they used the actual scenes and just did their little touch on them, like seeing Granny as Trinity and Speedy Gonzalez running on the bullets. I thought that was done so well. Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner in the Mad Max world, excuse me, I thought that was fantastic stuff. So I
love Rick and Morty just dropping.
Yeah, Rick and Morty just show up out of nowhere. So I'm like, Jesus, man, like they really threw literally everything at you. But I thought those scenes were so great, and that's honestly when I started. And like the whole voiceover thing with LeBron, I was like, all right, I like this, and it was smart. It was smart of them to do that because obviously he's a busy guy, and they're not gonna have him on studio all the time, so he can probably kill those scenes in a day or two.
Yeah,
and so I thought that was really smart of them, but I liked how it was progressing the story, and I was invested at that point. I'm like, all right, it's not now he's just doing voiceover. It's fine. We're getting not introduced, but we're seeing all these properties happening. That at least for me, that's where it grabbed me. Now, in retrospect, I don't know if my kids would appreciate that because my kids haven't seen Mad Max. My kids haven't seen Austin Powers. My kids haven't seen The Matrix. Like for them, they'll probably be like, all right, like that's cool. But what, like they won't lose their mind like I did. So I think that was the more of a like more cadence for the adults. Like, hey, we got something for you guys too. So it was, I think, pretty smart for them to do something like that.
No, and I think that they, it was good to get the adults back in there because this movie is mostly for kids. It really is. But for the adults, it has that entertainment value because you recognize those films, and then you really recognize everything when the crowd shows up at the basketball game. When you have all the Warner Brothers characters surrounding them, watching it, being spectators for the game, and you see, King.
All the Warner Brother characters. All I saw was Pennywise.
Which is, it's weird, man, because
so weird.
They have Don Cheadle in a shot that they keep cutting to over and over again, and in the back it's the same characters, and you have Pennywise, you have Penguin from Batman Returns in there, you got the Droogs from Clockwork Orange. They're all standing in the same shot. The White Walkers from Game of Thrones, they're all there, and it's like these are the creepy characters.
Yeah.
Which
you had like the Flintstones and the Jetsons and the Animaniacs like way in the background.
Yeah.
But like the creepy killer characters, rapists are right front and center.
Yes. And it makes sense. They're standing behind the bad guy. Like that should have given it all.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a couple things. You didn't like LeBron as much as I think he's fine. I think he gets better as the movie progresses.
He got better. Towards the end, I was liking him. Like on the actual court when he was doing his thing, I had no issues with LeBron there.
Well, then his redemption arc at the end when him and his son come together, I felt that as a genuine moment there. I don't think he's better actor than Michael Jordan. I think that's pretty easy. Michael was bad.
I didn't think like LeBron was a bad actor. Period. I liked what he did in Trainwreck. I thought he was fantastic in Trainwreck. So. For me, I feel like this was more of a step down because I saw his acting chops in Train. Maybe he was just being himself.
He's not a leading man. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. But the little scenes that he was in, I feel like, I don't know if I gave, because we talked Trainwreck, haven't we, on the show?
Yeah.
I don't feel that I feel like I would have given him the cameo or the Mahershala Ali, like, to be honest with you, because I really like this cat. Oh no, I think I gave it to Cena, and then the supporting was for LeBron. But honestly, like I thought he was great, and then I was like, oh my god, when I first saw Trainwreck, I'm like, this guy can, he was actually really funny. I thought he was gonna be like terrible.
Yeah.
So
So he's fine. And then you have other characters in there. You have I think Don Cheadle chews up scenery. Like he's just having the time of his life. But really, the actors you got to talk about are the tunes. The tunes are the ones that are really, the main characters of this film. So you got your Bugs Bunny. I thought Zendaya as Lola Bunny was awesome.
He was
a great little addition there. I thought Daffy Duck was amazing. I think he was probably my favorite.
My number one was Wile E. Coyote. That guy, every time he was on screen, he was killing me.
Yes.
So, seeing again from the Mad Max to the slow motion scenes to the multiple the Wileys and the bombs and all that. I thought he was so great. I'm like they utilized him so well. They did my boy Dirts again, Marvin the Martian. He was not in it again, just like in the first one. He was a referee for whatever, and then in this one,
he just looked like an idiot. Like
yeah, dude. I'm like, damn, man, I was so pissed. I know this scene was in the trailer, but I love the part where Daffy tells Yosemite Sam to shoot the ball and he just starts popping off, and then oh my god, dude, that scene kills me every time. It's so freaking funny.
So like one of the things that was confusing to me is when they're starting the game and you see the starting five. How is Tweety Bird in the starting five?
No, I said the same thing as I was watching it. I was like, Tweety's in the starting five, and what?
Yeah, but, it's Bugs, it's Lola, it's LeBron, it's Tweety, and I think Taz is the
Taz. I think I'm not 100% on Taz, but answer me this: how does the point system work in this film?
It doesn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense at all. You get like style points,
and just you can make multiple baskets and get rack up 1,000. They were down 1,000 points at the half.
Literally, like in these movies, where it's going generally, but at halftime they were down 1,000 points, and I genuinely thought like they're actually not going to come back from this. That's a lot of points. I've seen plenty of basketball games. 1,000's a lot. One other thing I want to ask you is it's not the Monstars, it's the Goon Squad this time. So you have it's Damian Lillard, Diana Taurasi. It's Diana Taurasi or Sue Bird, I don't remember. Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson. Those are your Monstars, basically. What did you think of them? I thought they were cool, unique.
I thought they were cool. Klay Thompson as the splash bro and the fire guy for me stole the show out of all of them. To be honest with you, that was hands down my favorite goon. And I obviously we're gonna start comparing 1 and 2. I thought the Monstars were more likable characters, not likable, but more.
They had more life in them.
Yeah, they did, man. These were honestly just there to shoot, and that's it. It wasn't really a character for me. They were cool designs, but in that aspect, number one. I like the villains in number 1 a lot more. But they were cool to watch. Damian Lillard's what do they call him? The Dame time. So I thought that was pretty dope. Anthony Davis as the Bird was pretty funny too.
It is funny, yeah. He's just there to look big and menacing.
But for me, it was all about Klay Thompson's character. I thought that was so dope. I like the way they utilized him, everything. So that's it. I don't have much to say. Even the jersey, like my brother really loved the Goon Squad. Goon Squad, right?
Yeah.
He really he was looking up to buy a jersey and all that. Like he really liked them, and I was like, oh, they're fine.
One thing one criticism I will throw is I didn't think the movie was that funny. And when you have people like Sarah Silverman sitting there as a Warner Brothers executive, maybe ask her to write a couple jokes. Maybe just throw that in there a little bit. Maybe let her riff a little bit to LeBron. Stephen Yeun's just there. I don't know where that happened. He's just a Warner Brothers executive.
I feel like he was maybe walking the lot, going to go shoot something or maybe pitch an idea for a new movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, put on a suit. We got a little quick check for you.
Yeah. You want to sit down with LeBron James?
Maybe 30 minutes to finish this.
Yeah, just sit in this room with LeBron. There might be a camera there. We don't know, but just like talk to him. He's a nice guy. He wants to meet you.
Yeah, that's honestly how it went down with both of them.
And then there is a fun cameo in there too.
That is a really good cameo, which was really funny. I wanted to see more of the cameo personally once they introduced the cameo, but it was used really well. I thought it was really.
It was. So, like, at the end of the day, I don't think this is a bad movie at all. People are trashing this like it's the worst thing ever. Like, they're just discovering that this is an ad for Warner Brothers. Like we said, newsflash, so was the original one. So, if you like the first, then you need to acknowledge that the second one is the same thing.
I honestly think it's more towards the hate of LeBron. Like, it's LeBron hate versus anything else. And this movie was the second he signed, as many fans as he has, I feel like this movie was gonna get doomed by the LeBron haters, hands down.
Yeah.
And you can't go. It's a film. It's not a basketball game. It's not. It's a fucking movie for kids. So relax.
Yeah. Let's chill.
Don't stop. Stop it. And you're like, oh, dude. I'm 35. I know the original came out when I was 10. I was not bashing this movie. I was not excited for it. I mean, I was like curious because I'm like, oh man, a sequel to Space Jam. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, it's gonna flop. I wasn't like that. But I'm like that for most properties. I just go in there, I watch them, and if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't.
Exactly. Like, I don't go in there saying.
I honestly thought I wasn't gonna like this one because of the beginning of the film. Once he goes into Toon World is where it made that switch for me, where I was like, I can get behind this now. Because at first I was like, I didn't like it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be pretty shitty, and it sucks that it's 2 hours long. And once he hits that, they hit that mark, and they introduce you to the Looney Tunes, and they reintroduce you to the verse, and then the basketball game is pretty lengthy. It's a long part of the film. Like, you were actually getting some basketball there.
It's like the last hour of the movie.
Yeah. But again, there's some things in the film that we can't get into because it's spoiler territory that they don't make sense. Mm-hmm. But at all, like, how much is supposed to make sense in a cartoon movie for kids? Like, it's about the Looney Tunes. Like,
it's fine. Yeah. Fine. So I think we both recommend Space Jam: A New Legacy. I'm sure it did really good at the box office, and then it fell off its second weekend, which is expected. All these HBO Max movies are doing this because they debut in theaters, people go and see them, but then they can watch them at home immediately. So, except In the Heights, I guess people just didn't rush to see that one at all, which is a shame.
Some people are, but I mean, I definitely recommend if you haven't seen it already. I know we're a little behind on this review. But check it out. Go in there with an open mind. Remember that this movie is for kids as you are watching it. Mm-hmm. But it's a fun time. And if you don't, I mean, you have kids, watch it with them, and you'll probably enjoy it more because there's parts of they'll definitely be laughing at.
Exactly.
So it is a recommendation. Maybe not rush to the theater if you don't have HBO Max. You can wait to see it, but it's definitely a movie worth checking out.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next film here. And Jader, I'm actually going to transition to a different one instead. We'll get to the third one where we can both review it together. Next is going to be Snake Eyes, because I didn't get to see this one. Jader did just recently. I haven't had a chance to go out and see. I want to see this. It looks interesting, but I never got around to it. So Snake Eyes just came out this past weekend. It is a G.I. Joe origin story, I guess. Jader, jump right into it. What is this film about?
I guess is very loosely. I mean, not very, kind of on the money what you just said. A G.I. Joe movie. I guess that's exactly what it is. So, full transparency with you guys. I grew up watching G.I. Joe. I don't remember it. I had the toys. I remember the characters. I don't remember any storyline, any lore, nothing. So I am probably not the best person to, really dive deep into what this world is, but, I'm going to do my best. I saw this movie without seeing a single trailer for it. I knew it was coming out. I knew the trailer was doing big things because I kept seeing it. I'm like, oh, I'll get around to watching the trailer. I just never did. So when I went to go see this movie, it was between seeing this and going to see Old, right? And Old was just an hour away from where I live versus a 20-minute drive to go see Snake Eyes. So I'm like, you know what? Old comes out this week and I'll check it out. Let me go see Snake Eyes. So when I went to go see, I didn't know what to expect. I sat down and, the movie starts and I had fun with it. I had a good time. Um, it is basically the origin story of the character of Snake Eyes and how he comes to become said character. Now, we all know that Henry Goulding is the star of this film. He doesn't go by any other name except for Snake Eyes in this movie, even when it's a kid. So basically, the movie starts off, and we'll talk. I will give a spoiler warning. I'll just let you know, guys, when, because I do want to talk about something that I found out recently. But the movie starts off with him and his dad, and basically his dad is murdered, right? Um, he escapes. His dad, his dad fights back to with the bad guys, and then he tells his son to keep running and run, and then his son witnesses his father being murdered, and he grows this revenge and hate in his heart to get the person that killed his father. Basically, how he gets the name of Snake Eyes is that the bad guy gives him a die, gives his dad a die, dice. Sorry, he gives him dices, and he was like, "Roll for your life." He rolls Snake Eyes. Bad news. Boom, dead, and that's how he just goes that. Then he becomes a cage fighter, someone and then he's doing his thing. He's fighting, but he's always seeking vengeance towards. He's trying to find this man that killed his father. Some guy finds him and tells him that I know where I know where this guy is. I need you to do a favor for me, and then our story begins. Right. Yeah. Pretty much the gist of it. I don't want to get too much into detail because of again, if you haven't seen it, and one thing I will tell you is if you have not seen this trailer, don't, and go watch the film. Maybe you'll enjoy it like I did. I know a lot of people that saw the trailer were completely disappointed. This movie is actually bombing. It's not doing very great, and it's not getting a very good critical review because I think people were expecting just something different. So Henry Goulding is Snake Eyes, like I said, and he is an overall very charming person in every film that he's in. If there's anything that you're gonna get, even if you're not a fan of films that he's in, you're gonna get a good performance out of him. He wasn't bad in this film whatsoever, but I feel like he was just very monotoned. It was probably the character that was written for him and all that.
Last Christmas was better,
acting wise. Yeah, I mean he gives a little bit more in Last Christmas. Yeah, you know what, man? I fucking hate you for that movie, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really enjoyed it, man. Like I was hating it so much, and then I was like, it's not bad. And then I saw it again. I'm like, it really isn't that bad.
Not at all.
But yeah. So you have you go into this world, and then based on the trailers, you see that he's getting trained by these ninjas and all that, and that's how you become you're getting the warrior. But how do I say this? You're kind of rooting, and I guess this can be a slight spoiler. You're kind of rooting for the bad guy in this movie, or your hero is not what you think he is, and you're kind of like, man, what the hell's going on? And then the like you understand why a lot of like they set up a lot for the future. Like you can tell this is a big setup for future, which I don't know if they're even gonna be able to spin off movies or bring the Joes in because of how it's performing. But you have your little introduction to and I'm sure I saw this in the trailer that the Baroness is in the movie, which is a character from the G.I. Joe. Scarlett's in it, which she's been in previous films. You have Blind Master. You have said characters where you're like, all right, I know these characters. My issue with this is that it had so much potential to be a great martial arts movie, but you literally had shaky cam for every single fight. Everything was like shot like this, which sucked. That was one of the things that I'm like, man, I don't like the camera work here. It takes a lot from the actual fights, but overall, a standout, and one standout that I have to like give credit where credit's due. I think Andrew Koji outshines Henry Golding in this movie, which he plays the character of Tommy. Fantastic character, great arc, great arc. They set him up so great in this movie. And then you see where the brotherhood of between Tommy and Snake Eyes starts, and where it ends up throughout the film. And again, it's very, how do I say it? It's like a lukewarm film. Talking about it, I got out of there and I'm like, man, I didn't hate it. I actually thought it was a pretty badass film. But as you think about it, it's something that has been done plenty of times. I feel like this movie was just a generic action movie, and the studio was like, we'll make this if you throw characters we know in it, and then they're like, fuck it, let's make it a G.I. Joe movie. That's honestly what like in retrospect, like, don't get me wrong, I got out of that movie, I'm like, man, I liked it. It was pretty badass. Saw the trailer for it when I got home, and I was like, oh my God, they show you the whole freaking movie in that trailer. There were no surprises for anyone. Like, no surprises for anyone. So it's a fun film by any means, not terrible. You can, if you want to have just some dumb fun at the theater, I definitely recommend it. I feel like you'd have a good time with it. I'm more curious. The movie ended and I kind of wanted the sequel right away, and the reason why was because they set up just this great arc right at the end of the movie, and I'm like, where was this? Like, this is what I want. Now I have to wait if they make this movie to see what's going to happen, right? So right here's where I don't know if you want to type in spoiler warning, because I do want to get into some spoilers right now. Where it says Snake Eyes, but so I'll let you set that up very quick before I get in there.
Hold on.
Yeah, no, that's all good.
Here we go.
There you go. Perfect. So, couple things that my negatives are mostly spoilers. That's why. So do you know the character of Snake Eyes whatsoever? Like, anything at all?
No, so I want to throw this in there. I think G.I. Joe's kind of got this stink on it right now. Yeah. People just don't care, and that's reflecting in the box office. The two movies that came out, I want to say maybe over 10 years ago at this point, even more than that. The last one bombed, and the one before that people just didn't care about either. And so they waited a long time to bring it back with Snake Eyes. And in the box office, you can see this week, people don't care again. This movie feels like it was kind of thrown out there in the way you described it too, which was the plot. When you were describing the beginning, a kid watches his dad get murdered and then wants revenge. How many times have we seen that? Then he becomes a cage fighter. I felt like I just saw that in Mortal Kombat earlier this year.
Well, it's funny. It has a lot of comparisons to Mortal Kombat, to be completely honest. Yeah. In my opinion, the better film.
So if you're going to be this movie that's part of this franchise that has this stink on it right now, you need to give us a reason to be excited to get in there to see it. And I just feel like a lot of marketing wasn't put into it. They picked a bad time to release it, which is, right dead in the middle of summer. We're still coming back from the pandemic. Not a lot of marketing was put into it. I just feel like
I just found out about this movie a month ago. That's why I'm like, oh, I'll see the trailer soon. And then boom, the movie's out. I'm like, oh, guess not. I'll just go watch this movie blindly.
Exactly.
So this is the spoilers. This is my thing. The character of Snake Eyes doesn't talk, doesn't take off his mask. He doesn't do anything. You're going to put a charming guy and a handsome guy like Henry Golding behind this mask. Now, this is the thing. He doesn't get his Snake Eyes suit until the last shot of the film. So you don't see him ever be Snake Eyes, like the actual character that we know from the show, right? And he gets that suit, in my opinion, very undeservedly. Very undeservedly. There's no way that in my head doesn't make sense that he kind of screws over the people that let him in, right? And then they're like, hey, thanks for not screwing us completely. Here's the suit. And I was like, no, like I would be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, fuck you, personally. Not only that, so that's one of the things. So, and then Snake Eyes, again, I don't know this about the character, but I know he just doesn't talk and he doesn't take off his suit. You don't see him. You don't see him ever. He's always the Black Ninja. You don't see anything, right? So I'm like, all right, maybe something. It's like, you know, Deadpool, right? Ryan Reynolds, good looking guy. They fucked him up. Wears the mask. There's jokes throughout the film about it. Nothing happens to this character, right? Where I'm like, all right, so is it next movie that we're gonna get? Like, he's already got the suit, so why? Nothing happens to him. Nothing happens to him in the fact where he shouldn't be able to talk and he shouldn't be able to take off his mask because maybe something happened. I don't know that. I don't remember that in the original, but I'm pretty sure something happens to the Snake Eyes in the lore where he doesn't take off his mask and he doesn't speak for a reason, you know? So that was one thing that I didn't like from it. Another thing is that I got home and I saw the trailer, right? When I saw the trailer, the mid-credit scene to set up the next film is in the trailer. So that big surprise where I'm like, the whole time I'm like, I think this is this character. I think this is this character. Yeah, there's no surprise in it. I had no idea that he was part of the marketing as that character. So I mean, I guess I can say it, but Tommy is Shadowstorm, which is Snake Eyes' arch rival. But the whole movie, they don't show you that until the mid-credit scene. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I didn't know that they have posters with Andrew Koji is Shadowstorm. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like you should have just at least put that, because a lot of people what disappointed some of my friends was like, dude, I thought Shadowstorm was going to be like the villain at the end of the movie and that we were going to see the beginning of that rivalry. They're like, but no, it was a setup for the rivalry to begin in the sequel to this movie or the next movie. Scarlett is barely in it. You can take her out of the film, won't matter. Yes, I feel like they put Samara Weaving's in the movie for like 15, 20 minutes, and they put her in there as hey, the Joes exist. Just know that, but we're not going to use her anymore. You know? So it was little things.
It's a cart before the horse, like Power Rangers, Dark Universe situation. Yeah.
Pretty much. But again,
on the franchise instead of the movie. It's like make a good movie and then do the franchise.
This is all something that, again, it was more thinking about it that I'm like, because when you're in there, you're paying attention and, you know, like it looks pretty. It looks nice. There's some scenes there's one particular fight scene that happens in the rain. In an alley that I thought was so dope. Again, the shaky cam was a thing, but it wasn't as bad. I think the shaky cam gets worse at the end of the film, and then at the very beginning, it had it too, where I was like, oh my god, like stop. But there's one in the rain that I really really liked, just the style of the choreography. There's a scene literally where Samara Weaving's character is walking, and the camera is doing the where's she going? Like that, where you're like, dude, it's not even an action. She's just walking.
Why do people do that still? Like, no, do you know anybody who likes shaky cam? Like a single person out there. I felt like John Wick got rid of it. Like, just put the camera on the actors and
let them do their thing. And again, it's a martial arts film. Martial arts is you gotta pan out and see what they're doing against each other. It was the camera part was rough. Again, I'm not going to say that I didn't enjoy the movie. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. But when I was more thinking about it, I was like, this didn't work. And I didn't like this. And oh my God, yeah, this happened. And then when I saw the trailer, I'm like, I can see why people were upset. Again, I went in there blind, not knowing who was in it. I didn't know. I knew Henry Golding was the main guy. I didn't know Samara Weaving was in it. I didn't know Andrew Koji was in it. There was a lot of things where I was like, I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. That's cool. So when I saw the trailer, I'm like, I can see why people are pissed off. You can see pretty much, you can connect the dots with the trailer alone, hands down. So
that sucks, man.
That's the only thing that sucks. It's a fun film. You got to know what you're getting yourself into when you're going to go see a G.I. Joe film. It's not a game changer. Not the best. Definitely not the worst movie of the weekend. If you haven't checked it out, I would recommend it, but just cautious. Like, if you can wait. If you want to go in there and have some fun, shove some popcorn down your throat and watch it, I don't see why not.
Okay, so Snake Eyes, it sounds like you wanted to recommend it at the beginning, and then as you kind of talked yourself into not recommending it by the end. So Snake Eyes, do what you want with it, guys. It sounds like something that pisses me off, which is you're trying to set up a franchise before you even make a good movie in the first place, and you just I thought we learned. To stop doing that, and I guess not. So another failed G.I. Joe property, and we know we'll reboot it again in 10 years and see what happens. Make it a TV show. Let's try that.
I think that'll work.
Okay, so let's move on to our final movie of the week, and that's going to be Old. And Jader kind of referenced it earlier that Snake Eyes is not the worst movie to come out this weekend, and that's because Old came out. And this is the latest film from M. Night Shyamalan. One of, I feel like, the most famous directors in the past 20 years, like this century. Like, he is one of the
Spielberg.
Yeah, he puts his name on
they were calling him, man, the next Spielberg.
You put his name on a movie and people are going to go see it. And it seems like he still has that stigma to him. He's up there with Spielberg and Tarantino, which is surprising. And I've always appreciated M. Night Shyamalan.
He puts butts in seats. That's 100%.
He does, and now he's funding his own movies as well. Old, Glass, Split. Like, he's paying for his own movies right now, and they're making money. They're doing well. So this is, M. Night's doing. He has the passion for the project. So now comes out Old. And Old is the story that's based on this book. It's called The Sandcastle, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And basically, these people go to this beach. A bunch of people go to this beach, and they just rapidly start aging to the point where, they start dying off and stuff like that. And that's basically the general plot of the movie. And I put this in my review because when the reviews first came out, I saw a lot of people saying, it's just, not what I was expecting, but like I still enjoyed some part. Like, they're trying to sugarcoat it because they really wanted to support M. Night and stuff. Guys, this movie's bad. Like, it's really, really bad. And we need to stop trying to, I like M. Night, so I'm not going to be mean to it. No, this movie's like awful. And it's really surprising because M. Night started off as one of the best young directors out there. Sixth Sense, Unbreakable Science, boom, boom, boom.
Okay. Back to back, man.
You're crushing it. I know people are starting to come around on The Village now. Like, that's
some people like The Village. I personally still don't. I think that movie's a piece of shit.
But the people are coming around on that one pretty hard right now. And then he hit this Trek where he's like, Last Airbender, After Earth, Lady in the Water, The Happening. Like, he fell off a cliff hard. And then, he had The Visit, and then you had Split. And I'm a fan of Glass. I liked Glass. I think that's an enjoyable film. So it's
he's for me, he's 50% right now with his 12 films. 6 are good. 6 are great to good. And then what did I tell you? The other 6 are dirty booty cheeks, bro.
Yep. And here we are with Old, which is just like it's such a big turd. Like, I was so shocked at how bad this film was. Because, the biggest thing about this is it feels like a brand new filmmaker made this, like a student film. It feels like that. Like, someone had a big idea, some money, and it was like, you know what, we're going to go out to a beach and we're going to shoot this film. And he had it felt like he had no idea what he was doing, or he had big ideas and had no idea how to translate them because the story is there, but he doesn't care about it. Really. He kind of settles into watching these actors wither away. And this story doesn't justify 2 hours of watching these characters just die. It really doesn't. It's not fun. It's not entertaining. It's kind of annoying because
I didn't even think because what are M. Night films overall? They're suspenseful thriller, and you see this movie and that's what it's being marketed as. It wasn't that, man. There was I would have taken jump scares. There was none of that. Like, it was just a boring film, and it was a senseless, boring film with. I felt like the acting in the movie, with the exception of 2 to 3 characters,
was bad.
Bad, and not only bad, but table reading bad, like trying to find their beat. But M. Night was like, we have no time. We're shooting this. Let's go. It was bad. Like they were like pauses. Like I don't remember verbatim the words, but I want to tell you that when they first discovered the first body, which you see in the trailer, and they're like, we got to stop the tour guide. And then I forget his name because he's in so many movies. The Asian actor.
See, like I looked him up too. He's in a lot of movies, but like not a big part. Like he was in Star Wars. He was in
he was in The Last Stand, X-Men. I'll get to him, but but he was like, the tour guide, he's gone. Why? What's going on? Like that. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me, dude. Like I'm like, that's noticeably bad, right? To my brother. And he goes, yeah, that was not deliberate. And my brother's not a cinephile. He just, he'll watch anything. And it was just fuck, I hated this movie, man.
Everyone's and the dialogue is bad too. Every character makes a point to tell you what their profession.
Ken Lewin.
Yeah. Every actor makes it a point to tell you what they do for a living, what their profession is. Why? Because maybe it'll come up later. Mostly it doesn't. Mostly it doesn't matter. Like there's this character in this movie called Mid-Size Sedan.
Mid-Size Sedan, man.
He's a rapper, and his name is Mid-Size Sedan. He's on the beach pretty early and doesn't age as fast as everyone else. That doesn't matter. They give him a backstory. He's a rapper. He was there with this woman. You're like, okay, maybe this is going to be something. One of the kids knows who he is, and nothing comes of it. It doesn't matter. Every single character doesn't matter. Even the kids grow or age rapidly because you see the noticeable change usually from kids when they go to teenagers.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah,
that's normal. But there's stuff that happens with them that are like kind of big moments that aren't really addressed in a big way. Like one of the characters you see in the trailer, one of the characters gets pregnant. How did they get pregnant?
I actually wanted to talk about that. I was pretty bothered with that scene.
It's weird.
Right? I know it was. I don't. Okay, so I mean, I don't know if you want to put spoiler. It's kind of in the trailer, but
not yet. Do you have any other things you kind of like? Just basically like not even to wrap it up. Just movies usually have a twist in it. This one does. And it sucks.
It sucks. It didn't work for me. It honestly did not work for me whatsoever. When I saw what the twist was, I'm like that. I'm like, I was watching the movie throughout, and I'm like, please tell me that the twist is actually going to be worth it, because there's a twist coming. It's MO, right?
Yeah.
And just throughout, I was watching it. I'm like, oh my god! Even some of the camera decisions that when he pans out. I'm like, what are you doing? And people are trying to like honestly, like not say anything bad about this film. They're like, oh well, the cinematography was good. No, it wasn't. The cinematography was not good in this film. You didn't know what he wanted to shoot, what he wanted to show you on screen.
Yeah. So you're noticing that too. Like when you see like the reactions and reviews, people are like, you can tell they didn't like it, but they like M. Night, so they're not trying to be mean to him. Even though they know deep down this movie's not good, like, and we can't just.
I'm not gonna say anything. I won't throw names out there, but I personally know a friend of mine that interviewed M. Night. He saw this movie to interview M. Night because they're like, hey, you have an opportunity to do this, and he had a great time with the interview and all that. And I wrote to him and I was like, hey man, I'm like, good job on the interview. And he's like, yeah, dude. And then I'm like, what'd you think of the film? He's like, the movie was fucking terrible. Like, and it is what it is. Like, it sucks to say that, but if you had a friend and something was just not good, as a friend, I'd be like, hey man, it's not for you. It's not you're a shitty filmmaker. We obviously know he has the capability of writing some great stuff. This just wasn't it, No, and I feel, and I personally don't know M. Night, and I don't hate him. He's just very hit or miss for me. I just feel, and I could be wrong here, that he's like so far up his ass, right? That he won't let anybody touch his stuff because he wrote, directed, he did everything for this film. He's putting up his own money. When the concept is good, it's not a bad concept. If you watch this trailer, you're obviously intrigued, like, oh, what the hell is going to happen?
The trailer's great.
This is so great.
Yeah.
But why not have somebody else just like kind of like proofread your stuff and you know, just be like, hey, I can kind of make this a little bit better. Example, I told you I was watching Movies That Made Us, right? I saw the Die Hard episode. The original writer of Die Hard had a different idea for the film. And then John McTiernan read the script and he goes, this is good, but I feel like we can make this better, right? And then we got what we got through a rewrite.
Yeah.
And it's considered one of the, you know, the best Christmas movie of all time and one of the greatest action films of all time, right? It's okay to have your work rewritten. Like, you know, they're still going to have, they're going to be your ideas. It's just people are going to be like, hey, you know, let's pitch this in there. Let's do this in there. I feel like Old given to somebody else to proofread or to see something like, well, this doesn't, is this going to work? But again, he doesn't let anybody do anything besides it has to be him. And that's what hurts him, I feel sometimes. Again, we know he's capable of doing greatness. I've seen some great, because The Sixth Sense still holds up. It is still a great film, you know? And then you get your shit like Old, which I can
never. Like, too, man, it felt like, and this was, I sent this to you. My theory is that they were shooting on a beach, and it must have been hot out there. Like, it has to be really hot. And I feel like the actors and the camera crew and everyone was just like, all right, let's get this done as fast as possible. Let's just get it.
Not only that, and we were talking about the aging. So you see the character of Trent and Maddox grow rapidly. And what was the little girl's name, man?
Dude, let me look. This is another thing.
Kara.
Okay. This is another thing, real quick. If you can't really name characters, like if you can't really name the characters in a movie, it's not a good movie. Yeah. That's just kind of like a base general thing right there.
So whatever. You have these characters, and obviously they're aging quickly. You mentioned Mid-Sized Sedan's character. I think his name is Brandon. I'm not sure. But you have the Mid-Sized Sedan character, which was at the beach. So when you're at the beach in the film, every 30 minutes equals a year of your life. Obviously, kids are going to grow rapidly because, you know, we in 10 years, you're completely different, right? Us as adults, we don't really change. Like, I feel I've looked the same since I was like 27. It's the same shit, right? Yeah. I just go balder and fatter. That's all it is. Anyways, so you had this character beforehand. We don't know how long, but let's say he was there 2-3 hours. He should be aging way quicker than our main characters. That does not happen. He actually looks younger, right? He looks like nothing happened to him whatsoever throughout the whole film, just a couple of nosebleeds. Then you have your other characters that are supposed to be, you know, they're it's already a night scene, right? It's already nighttime. So they've been there since the morning. Our characters don't have anything but gray hairs and a little bit of crow feet. That was it. I thought we were going to see these people start turning into skeletons. That would have been even like something remotely, like, because they show a scene in the trailer where you see somebody kind of like, and it's not what you think. No. It's not. It's not what you think. So I'm like, what the hell are they doing here? Mm-hmm. You know, like, and I think they probably didn't have the budget, which I would have cut so much off this film to have that type of budget to make at least that look somewhat appealing to a movie called Old and seeing our characters grow old, because all you get again is a couple of gray hairs and a couple of wrinkles on your faces. That's it. But that has to be done. That had to be budget. It couldn't be anything else. Or prosthetics from the sun. They couldn't make it work. I don't know, but they should have done it.
You never see, no character ever grows gray hair in this film. You never see it. Like the even the skinny girl who's married to the guy who goes crazy, the doctor.
Style. Yeah.
I feel like she stayed young for a while. Like she for a long time, and then suddenly she just disappears and then comes back, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what happened.
I know we're like straight bashing this film, but let's talk pros very quick. It's very quick because there's not many. Thomasin McKenzie, great job.
Yeah,
what she had to work with. I know you didn't like Alex Wolff that much. I personally did. It's a hard task to tell adult or or an actor that, hey, you physically look 15, 16, whatever, or as an adult, but your mentality is still a mind of a 6-year-old. I feel like he nailed it. Like, I feel like he was very whiny and very like, and I'm like, and freaking out over nothing, and not nothing, but I felt like,
so here's the thing. They make a point to mention that their minds are aging too. Like they're starting to feel things and get different thoughts and stuff like that. So I feel like he's not a 6-year-old when he
time out. I know where you're going. Hold that thought, because that's kind of one of the spoiler things that I want to talk about. Yeah, that's kind of one of the. I know exactly, and that's what bothered me. Anyways, so I feel like she did great. He did. I liked what he did, and I really liked Gael Garcia Bernal, given what he did. I think he was a good male lead. I liked his character a lot. He was just trying to like problem solve the whole time. I liked his character. Rufus Sewell, he was good too.
Everyone else could give two shits. Like
everyone else. So the three male leads, and the daughter. That was it. Nothing else character wise or acting wise. And I'm sorry, worked for me because everything was so wooden. It was like a table read. I couldn't get into it.
Like there's an actress in here named Vicky Krieps who was in Phantom Thread. That's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I believe she was nominated for an Oscar, or at least close to it at that point. She was like the one Daniel Day-Lewis was going after in Phantom Thread. She's terrible in this.
She's terrible in this movie. Did not like her character, and her acting was bad.
Yes.
Bad. I felt like she acted like if I would have been in the movie. Like, I know I can act, but it was bad. I was noticing. I'm like, it's not me, right? Like the whole time. And mind you, I got to see this movie. God, I saw it. So I already told you guys that I had the choice of seeing this movie and seeing Snake Eyes. And I chose to see Snake Eyes, and I would see Old over the weekend. But I was privileged enough to get a screening, at home screening, and I got to see it as soon as I saw Snake Eyes. I got home like around 10:30, 11. 11:30, I was watching Old, and I'm really pissed off that I missed some sleep over it because I had to work the next morning. But I wanted to. I was really intrigued. This movie just it doesn't work, and they the problem solving at the end when the characters start like realizing kind of what they had to do is some obscured shit that they mentioned in one sentence at the very beginning of the movie, where I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then once you find out what the twist is, you're like, no way, this is
so stupid. So we're gonna get into spoilers real quick, guys. If you haven't seen Old or you don't care about spoilers, you can cut it off right here. We'll be back next week with another episode of Jader Kyle Show. Thank you for tuning in. But if you have seen Old and you want to hear our thoughts on spoilers, tune in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so spoilers for Old are in session. Jader, go for it.
Hated the fact that we get told that these characters have to stay, that they're 6 years old. They're adults or teenagers at this point, right? These two, character of Kara and Trent, are in a tent together. She starts feeling all, hot. And we don't see it happening, but we see basically two 6-year-olds, mentality-wise, have sex.
Yeah.
Unnecessary. Completely unnecessary, because if you clip, and that's all a 10 15 minute scene at most, if you clip that 10 and 15 minutes, it does nothing for the story. It doesn't change it doesn't make it better, it doesn't make it any worse.
No, because she becomes pregnant and the baby dies instantly.
10-15 seconds, that was it.
So you take it all out, none of it matters, not a single thing. And here's another thing that bothers me is while they're in this tent together, everybody else is at the other side of this magical beach that's aging them, and they're talking about this dead body over here. It's like these parents you're not aware that, like, you don't care that your kids are just suddenly gone.
Yeah, they're worried about the girl that died versus the kids that are aging rapidly, and they're like, how the hell, what do we do with these?
And you already saw them start aging too. It's not like she hadn't seen them yet. No, they had already started aging, and you just like, oh, out of sight, out of mind. We're not going to care about them right now. Like, what is going on? The mid-sized sedan thing, bothers me a lot because they give him a backstory, they give him everything, like, and they set up that the kid knows who he is. And even there's like a little flirtation there. Like there's a moment where he puts his hand on her shoulder and stuff like that. And then he just gets murdered by the doctor. The doctor just starts stabbing him, which they imply that the doctor's racist. And then that's never brought up about his racism. They never attack it. They never address it.
He had mental illness, if I'm not mistaken, right? And obviously a race. But one of the things that I don't know, you saw when they were getting stabbed and cut, their healing super fast. They were like Wolverine. I thought I thought mid-sized sedan was gonna survive. You know, but they don't explain any of it. I'm like, is it maybe because he got the heart and I don't know, but
his things like blood clots, I believe. I think that everyone's there because they have a certain disease.
Yeah, that essentially, which we're not gonna give again. This is spoilers for things we were bothered. We're not gonna give complete detail on what the twist is. But yeah, that honestly, that scene bothered the hell out of me. And I know it was done for shock factor, I guess, but it was just poor. He needed advice on that, where I think anybody would have been like, that's not even as the actor, I would have been like, it's not a really good idea, dude. Like, are you sure you want to bring this up? Like, you want to shoot this? I mean, again, you don't see any intercourse. You don't see anything. It was basically, she mentions like, oh, my body's feeling weird. And then, a cut scene where we're with the adults, cut scene, you see that she's coming out with a big belly. That was it. Like, it's not like you see anything at all. There was not even a kissing scene or anything. It's just, but they had sex and he got her pregnant. It wasn't subtle at all. Like, is it not? And then you see it in the trailer where you see her character as a kid running around, and then you see kind of the same shirt and a girl that's pregnant. And I'm like, in the trailer, I was like, no way. I'm like, really? And then, no, they went that way, dude. They went that way.
No, it doesn't make sense. It really bothered me just how little thought was put into this. And it's just like, what the biggest shame is, this is M. Night Shyamalan. Like, you've been doing this for over 20 years at this point. You should not be making movies this bad. Yep. Also, like, you should be able to demand actors at this point. What are you doing with these guys who just, they can act, but you didn't get any performances out of them
whatsoever?
Like, what was the last good performance you saw from M. Night movie? James McAvoy in Split and Glass, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, like, you started off with Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson and Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix and like these big names.
Well, even if you go to The Village, he had Adrian Brody, he had Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, he has, like, throughout, he had Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, he had Paul.
He had Paul Giamatti. Like, he can get actors.
Will Smith.
He has Will Smith, exactly.
And then just like, he's like, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. And it's like, why? Because if you would have replaced these actors with good actors, which these are good actors, but even like actors that tried.
But that's the thing, what I'm saying. I don't think it was them, because we all know and we've seen what they're capable of. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
I know Gael Garcia Bernal, he's a Mexican actor.
Mm-hmm.
That man can act.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it wasn't demanded from Shyamalan. I feel like he was like, that's good, we'll work with that. It felt very amateur, man. It sucked.
Can we get into the end real quick? Because like, I was still kind of confused on when they found the note that said, my dad's afraid of the coral, or said stay away from the coral.
Doesn't like the coral, I think.
Doesn't like the coral. What is, like, how did that even happen? How did that?
He knows that was their getaway. He knows that that's the way to escape. So
the kid knows about this.
The kid knows about this. Yeah.
Oh, that kid sucks too then.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, I don't know. The thing was, and this is what I feel, is that the kid doesn't know who goes and who stays. At least that's what I got from it. I didn't think I thought the kid was pretty good. I don't think that he knew, because he would remember his uncle would tell him all the time, stay away from the diner. When he invites, remember the kid comes down and he's looking for him and he like demands him to like leave immediately. I don't feel like the kid knows. But then at the same time, why would he say that to him? Is it just in case this happens to you?
Why would he write a coded message?
I don't know. It's stupid. I'm telling you, it was just completely fucking stupid.
And then it gets to the point where like they did all this because they're creating medicine and they want to be able to
the whole twist was it was that like they give you like a kind of like an antidote to whatever disease you have, and and that's how, and they put you on that island to speed up time to see how much it would cure you. So you had a lady, which we didn't mention, with epilepsy, blood clots, tumors, etc.
Well, the tumor thing was nasty. That actually might have been the best part of the movie.
That was the best part of the movie for me, but I like shit like that, so I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
Another pro there. Yeah, absolutely. The tumor scene was really cool. But you get that, and then the whole twist is that I guess we are going to go into spoilers. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, it is spoilers for old. Like we got it.
So basically, that twist is that they give you an antidote when you get to this luxurious hotel, and they already know specifically what you have, what disease you have, and whatnot, and then they measure if they created a cure or not based on how much time you survive on that island. That's it. That's the truth. Like, but yeah, dude, I cannot recommend this movie. I can't do that to you guys, or do it and then just laugh. Very laughable. There's so many scenes that people were like, not people, when my cousin called me and he was like, man, the theater was rolling in certain scenes of how funny. And he goes, and the thing that's crazy is how serious some of those moments were. Sorry, my laptop is dying. How serious some of these moments are. How serious some of these moments are. And, people were just laughing.
Another thing that doesn't make sense too is so like you can't leave the beach unless you swim through the coral, obviously. But that just comes at the end out of nowhere. But they make a point to show like anytime you try to go back the way you came or swim or climb, you black out, right? So at the ends in the lab, you see in the case they have the rock of like a piece of the rock sitting there. It's like, how'd you get the rock? Who got the rock? What happens if you touch that rock? Do you start like it? Just I don't know. There's like so many just random questions that this.
Know how The Happening had trees? This has rocks. That's pretty much what it is.
And it just kind of sucks that we're sitting here talking about another bad M. Night movie.
It sucks. It really does suck, man. And he was on his way up, in my opinion, with Visit, Split, and Glass is mediocre. Let's call it for what it is. It's not this by far, but it's not great either. It's mid-tier. For me, it's a mid-tier film. But this for me, man, I don't know. I have to kind of revisit other movies, but I want to say like this is there with like Lady in the Water bad, like and Happening bad. It's bad. It's a bad movie.
I don't know, man. Like if you've been doing this for this long, getting wide release films, like you can't be looking like you just graduated film school.
Yeah,
you can't do that. So neither of us recommend Old. You don't need to see this at all, and it sounds like people like it was number one at the box office. So the trailer's great. Like
I'm sure there's a lot of pissed off people that we haven't talked to that've seen this movie. I'm sure there's a lot of pissed off people because honestly, based on the trailer, and it's M. Night, he's gonna put butts in seats every single time. I promise you. Even after this, his next film. Cut a great trailer. People are gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be more of a I don't know, but cut a great trailer. People are gonna go see it.
Exactly. So he's gonna keep working, and I appreciate his personality. He loves film. He's one of those guys who makes the rounds, puts the time in. Like he really loves this stuff. But man, dude, you're better than this.
I'm always gonna be rooting for him.
Yeah.
Again, I'm always gonna root for him. I understand why people were very weary about talking ill about the film, but. Hey, let's call it for what it is.
We're critics for a reason. Like you have to find the flaws. So Old is not a recommendation. It's funny, man, because at the end of this, I feel like we enjoyed Space Jam the most.
Yep.
Like I feel if you go on the internet, I think that's the one that's getting trashed the most. I don't know. So coming up, guys, there's I believe what's coming out this week. Jungle Cruise is coming out this week.
Jungle Cruise.
Stillwater looks awesome, which is the new Matt Damon movie.
Matt Damon movie looks great.
Looks really good. And there's another one coming out this week too. I don't remember what it is, but there's a lot of good stuff coming. Suicide Squad the week after, so there's a lot of stuff coming out pretty quickly here. We're gonna be back to our regular show though, guys. Reviewing films. We're gonna be doing having guests. We'll be putting down in categories. We're gonna get back to the draft. The movie draft's gonna be happening. I mean, heck, the NBA draft's happening this week. Might be draft season again for us. I don't know.
We'll definitely be talking Suicide Squad next time. We can't go without talking that film because it's getting so much hype.
Like a lot of
I haven't seen one negative review on the movie. I have seen people, I know this is gonna hurt your heart, Kyle, but people are saying that it's even better than Guardians, like which is big shoes to fill. This is coming from Guardians lovers that I personally know, and they're like, dude, this is just he created a masterpiece with Suicide Squad. It's not anything you expect. It has heart. It'll make you cry. It'll make you laugh, and hella violent. So
James Gunn's a good director. Like he's a really good director. So
and he always brings something fresh to the genre, which is why I love his work. He's always bringing something different. I have somebody telling me that they have superhero fatigue now. A critic that he's like, dude, I'm just kind of like tired of it all. Like everything is, everything is just this and that.
James Gunn said that this week.
Did he?
Comic movies are starting to get stale.
Yeah.
And then he goes and makes this. So
man. I feel like it's gonna be so many colorful characters in that. We're gonna get great performances. It is up there with my anticipated film of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hyped, man. We'll definitely give you a review as soon as we both get to see it. So
yeah, that'll be coming pretty soon. Stay tuned, guys. We will be back. And any other words, Jader?
That's it, man. Thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let us know if you guys want us to review any older films. We're gonna start taking polls again. So just leave a comment and let us know.
All right, and we'll see you guys next time on another new episode of the Jader and Kyle Show.